This week on Coddiwomple Overland, we get to get healthy in the woods. What's up, YouTube? We're finally able to get out and go overlanding again. This week we're going to continue our track along the Kentucky Adventure Tour. I hope you're right along. The weather started out pretty foggy this morning, but it wasn't long before the sun was peeking through. And then, in typical Kentucky fashion, it went from sun to rain. The rain would continue to be on and off all day long. Next thing you know, we're in Jelico, Tennessee, where it's time to meet up with Kelly. Alan and Nancy had met us at the house earlier that morning. We gathered up a few last-minute items, and it was off on the trail to see what kind of adventure we would find today. The plan for the next 3 days was to start in Jelico and head up the east side along the Cat, to see where 3 days got us. The trip started on 2-lane blacktop roads, and I was kind of afraid this was going to be the theme for the weekend. It wasn't long before we started seeing gravel. This particular part was along the Kentucky Ridge State Forest. While this section was just gravel, it was still good to get off the blacktop. You'll notice here a fourth vehicle in our party. No, we didn't add another one. This just happened to be another overlanding couple on the Kentucky Adventure Tour. Next thing you know, we were back on blacktop for a little bit, but it wasn't long before we were at the Pine Mountain State Park. We found a nice little roadside stop. It was time to grab some lunch. One thing you'll notice here, the trucks were appropriately social distanced. After some quick sandwiches, it was time to get right back on the trail. There really wasn't much open at Pine Mountain. One of the things that we really wanted to stop and see was Chained Rock. It was closed, just like everything else. Then we were back on some more blacktop. Remember that theme I talked about earlier? Well, it was just about to end in ways none of us ever imagined. The blacktop was getting narrower and narrower, and it was getting more broken and broken. Soon, it was more gravel than blacktop. And then we found dirt. We will be on this dirt through the rest of the day and a good part of the next. This was our first water entrance of the trip.
Well, from back here, that water looks like it's moving.
Straight up, top one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to follow it all the way up. So we're going to take that road just up on the right-hand side there. It'll keep us out of that creek.
It looked to be fairly high, so we decided to take a bypass around it. This trail showed up on Gaia map as a road. but it was obvious there hadn't been anything as large as we were on it for a long time.
Yeah, go ahead. You might be all right. God, that's close.
Whoever said big trucks can't wheel needs to take a ride with Kelly for a little while. Sometimes he needs his hood monkey to be able to see over that massive hood, and occasionally I'll help him out spotting a little bit. But he does a really good job with that big old ram.
Like he's right up against a tree. Oh, he's crazy.
We even performed a little bit of trail maintenance while we were on the way. This was definitely not a section that you wanted to be on if you were worried about pinstriping. After a short while, we ended up on a cleaner section of trail. Driver? Driver hard. Straighten it back up. This was exactly the kind of stuff we've been missing for months. So in addition to pinstripes on your paint, what about your new rooftop tent and awning? The covers that come on the Overland vehicle system's tent and awning were certainly being put through their paces in the Eastern Kentucky wood.
Hey, I'll be a minute. I just tagged something. We come back to you? Oh, no, I just want to make sure it's something correct.
One thing to note in this area of Clear Creek is there are literally trails that go everywhere. You've got to be real careful to make sure that you're on the right one for the cat. In this particular one, we had to turn around and go back a short distance. Autumn olive trees are a terror on paint, and I just knew they were making their marks on the tent and awning top as well. About 5 o'clock, we popped out into a perfect place to camp for the night. We decided to make it an early day, set up camp, and enjoy the company. Camp is set up. We have our Overland Vehicle Systems Nomadic 3 set up. Our camping arrangement is quite diverse. We've got everything from our rooftop tent. We'll walk over here and check out Alan and Nancy's setup. So they've got a really nice ground tent. Of course, it is Jeep logoed. Put them a nice little area here. They're set up in the back, all organized. Let's go see what Kelly's got cooking. Kelly, you normally sleeps in his Ram. He said tonight it was just a little bit too warm. So he's decided to go backpack style. He's gonna blend right into his environment here. Our camp surroundings couldn't have been better. We had creeks on both sides. The sound of running water is sure going to help us sleep good tonight.
Shrimp Creole. It is yummy, yummy.
So what all's in there?
Tomatoes, green peppers, onions, chili powder, shrimp.
Did you do that on the trail?
No, I pre-made it and brought it.
It's kind of the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, it's easier.
Doesn't take near as much time.
Especially for the first night. The first night's always like, you don't want to spend all night cooking.
That's right.
And then we've got our instant rice.
After an amazing meal, it was time to sit around the fire and catch up. Before we knew it, it was getting late and time for bed. Dreams tonight about the next day's adventure. Hope you've enjoyed this adventure so far. Stay tuned for parts 2 and 3. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments below and let us know what you think. Thanks again from Coddiwomple Overland.